You get out of the relationship, but then you go back in, right? You get out because it's like, fuck this, I'm sick of this shit, and then you go back in. Have you been there? You done that? We've all done it, right? Are you doing it now? Where it's gotten so bad over time, where there's a clear pattern of behavior that this person is exhibiting, and then you get out, but then they change. Fucking miracles, right? Now all of a sudden they're in counseling, or now all of a sudden there are rainbows and cotton candy out their butthole, you know? They're just everything, and they care about you, and they're asking about your fucking day all of a sudden. It's like, oh, this is the person I always wanted them to be. It can be a man, it can be a woman, whatever it is you're in a relationship with. It can be two friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, boss, subordinate, you know, parent, whatever. They've changed. No, they haven't fucking changed. You've heard me say it a million times. You know, trying to change behaviors long-term never changes behaviors long-term. You have to change the core beliefs driving the behavior. It's interesting, I was having a conversation very recently. I got a call from a guy who had been a client years ago, and he's global sales manager of a major US corporation. So he runs all sales, right? And he's a sales expert. He says, Sven, when I first started my first sales manager job, I used to have to hire people who had no sales experience. He says, everyone I hire now has massive experience. But back then, I said, well, how would you know if someone was going to be successful, if they were going to buckle under the pressure, or if they weren't going to be able to motivate themselves? He says, Sven, in the hiring process, I got good at recognizing someone's, what I call, Sven, someone's default personality. Whether it's sunny and warm, or whether it's friendly or inquisitive or edgy or mopey, I could pick out their fucking default personality, and then I'd begin to see it. They'd always go back to that. And I find that so interesting, because that's the same thing in fucking relationships. People have a default personality. So they may become pink bows and cotton candy out their butthole for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and lure you back in, but they will go back to their default personality. That their patterns of behavior that they've exhibited over years, they will go back to. Why? Because they haven't changed the core beliefs driving the behavior. They've only changed the surface behaviors. The default personality, they'll always go back to it. And sometimes we have to go back into that relationship 10 or 100 times, and that's fine. Till eventually we realize nothing's changed, nothing's gonna fucking change. So my question to you simply today is, who is it that you're wrestling with in your life? What is the relationship? Is it a work one? Is it a friend one? Is it a lover one? Who is it that you keep going back into, or that you're considering getting out of? Because you've seen a long-established pattern of behavior, because you've seen a default personality. Who is it? And at what point do you have the courage to finally walk away, recognizing it's not changing and it's not gonna fucking change, not permanently at least? At what point do you make the fucking change and begin to live your life your way? Have a kick-ass day.